Hello! I just want to say hello to the 5-ish fangirls. No, that's wrong. I want to say hello to the 5-ish fangirls. Yes, that's right.
Yes.
Is it? Yes, that's
Yes.
correct.
That's
Anyway,
correct.
hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. Hello. That's 5 hellos to the 5-ish fangirls. Bye.
This is Paul McGann, and you're listening to the 5-ish Fangirls podcast.
5-ish Fangirls, I love you, and I'm one of the 5-ish. In fact, I'm the biggest one of the 5-ish. I am the 6th Doctor Colin Baker, and I wish you all well. Have fun.
The tangents and squee continue all the way to episode number 31 of the 5-ish Fangirls podcast. We share one heart, and nothing can come between two halves of one heart. Welcome everyone to this week's episode of the 5-ish Fangirls podcast. Let's start off like we do every week by going around the virtual table and see who has joined us this week.
This is Brittany in Fort Pierce.
This is Chrissy in Salt Lake City.
This is Holly from Wisconsin.
This is Mitch in Kitchener, Ontario.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello everyone.
Hello.
So glad that everyone is here. Yay! So.
Yay. Oh, not next week.
No, not next week.
No, we will definitely be ish next week.
Yes.
Yep.
For a good reason. For a good reason.
Next week.
Yes.
Mitch is headed off to the
Yeah,
land
by
of the...
next week,
Yeah.
Gally will be wrapping up.
Yeah.
That's true. You guys will all be like sad that it's over,
But,
but that's
Sad.
okay.
and we'll all be over here.
I'm still looking forward to it, but it's
Let's
It's gonna
look
be
forward
fun.
to what is to come.
Yeah.
It's gonna be cool.
Yep.
Yes.
We're gonna have fun.
So
And all of us will be sad that she's someplace where it's warm and sunny, except for Brittany.
Because Brittany's there, warm and sunny all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Lucky little person, you.
So I got all of the details sorted, flight, hotel, roaming package, so I can use my phone while I'm in the States.
Nice.
So feel free to tweet, Mitch.
Well, if you can get a signal in the basement. Of
Well,
the
yes,
Marriott,
that's true.
Well,
that is.
we'll see about that.
Yeah.
You can get it when you're,
but,
like, up in the lobby and outside, but in the basement where the convention is, no, it ain't happening.
Yeah.
Speak from experience.
Unless you're Glenn, apparently.
Unless you're Glenn, and he's got the super special secret sprint thing. I can't remember what he was on.
Well, I was able to get a signal last year because I remember Sean called me. I was in the middle of a panel.
Oh,
Well, maybe she's got super special
Maybe.
Canadian
maybe
Well, I was
cell
maybe the
phone.
roaming
I was
package does
I
it
was with
for you. I don't know.
AT&T last year. So, and they're like the only carrier who actually gets a signal in the basement of the Marriott.
Ah, there you
No,
go.
I seem to remember some speculation that there's like an AT&T tower near the Marriott or
Like,
near the airport or something.
They said something about there being a tower like right on top of the hotel or something.
Oh, that's what it was.
So, and if I'm with AT&T again this year, it should be
Hunky
fine.
dory. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
So there's a
Okay,
little
so-
there's a little hint. If you're gonna go to Galley and you don't have AT&T, your cell phone will not work until further notice.
Yeah.
Well,
So
Until something changes.
I'm
still have
flying
enough for
out
me to change.
Thursday morning at 11:45. Get there about 1:30ish. And Sean and Mel are gonna pick me up, and we're gonna go to the hotel to check in, and then we can go get our badges. And yeah,
So if you're headed to Galley, that's your timetable for when you know Mitch is gonna get there.
yeah, I'll be there 1:30ish.
And we'll make sure to send you all sorts of nice travel vibes for no plane issues and your luggage doesn't get lost and all that
Yes.
stuff that can happen when you travel.
Anyway, so yes, looking forward to that.
Indeed.
Yep. So. All right. Well, let's get on to news.
Alright, first bit of news is some news that many of us
Everyone
have
was
been
very
waiting
excited.
for quite a while. Doctor Who gets an official Lego set. It's the news that pretty much every Doctor Who fan has been waiting for. Doctor Who Lego is in production. The concept for a Doctor Who set came from the Lego Ideas website, where fans can submit suggestions for a set and vote for their favorite idea to be produced. Various sets have gone through the site, but none have come to fruition into a concept from fan Andrew Clark, who received the 10,000 votes for the Lego group. I can't read today. For the Lego group to consider it for the production. Andrew's winning the sign features a range of doctors, companions, and monsters across the show's history, but fans will have to wait until later this year to discover who will actually be produced. Which
I don't care. I need it. Shut up and take my money.
Exactly. whatever you come up with, we're gonna buy it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we were talking pre-show, like, we all want the Lego video game.
Yes.
Lego
Yes.
Doctor Who video game.
Lego Doctor Who video game.
Bring it. Shut up and take my money.
Although
Yes.
on a bit of a Star Trek related tangent, imagine having a Doctor Who program on the holodeck where you can play as the Doctor.
That would be awesome.
That would be cool.
I'm gonna put that on the list of things to mention to Chauncey, since he's our VR person. Like, honey, once you get all the VR stuff up and running, this is what we want. We want to play Doctor Who. No,
But
like
until then, you give me the little yellow minifig of Peter Capaldi or whatever.
Yeah.
Be happy.
yeah. This, like, the minute this news dropped, that's all I saw on my Facebook feed. So many people are like, I don't even like Legos and I need this. I'm the same way. I'm like, I'm not a Lego person. I don't need this, but I need it. Give it to me now.
So that was like when I was talking earlier, when my family got Xbox 360 one Christmas, and we got a bunch of video games for it, and we had Lego Star Wars, and I was like, this is so dumb. Why would you make a video game of this? Then we started playing it. I'm like, this is the greatest thing ever. So I can only imagine, like, when and if Lego Doctor Who comes out for Xbox or the Wii or whatever. I'm just like, that's what I want, because they're just so cute and they're fun, and
Yeah.
And it's Doctor Who.
I mean,
It's Doctor Who.
I mean, I played with Legos when I was a kid, and I have like a little Han Solo minifig sitting on my desk that I don't know where I got him, but he's just been here, and I'm like, he needs more friends. So I'm gonna drop money on this when it comes out.
Yeah.
I'll probably put it together and stick it on the shelf and be like, look how pretty.
That's the toe my little sister and the kids are being not to touch.
Yeah, really.
It is a toy for looking at, not for playing.
Yeah.
Go play with that big mismatched box of Legos over there.
Yeah.
Which is literally what I have in my living room right now.
Those are the best.
Oh. Who knew you could get so excited about little pieces of plastic?
Indeed.
Oh man, you know what? Like my roommate, my roommates, I get all excited over clothes and shoes and stuff, and I'm like, Legos and toys and all these other things. So I'm like, you know what? Everybody's got their thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Legit. Alrighty then. Moving on.
Speaking of Star Wars, a lifelike Star Wars exhibit is planned for Madame Tussauds in London. Opening May 2015, Madame Tussauds London is bringing iconic Star Wars themes to life, featuring 16 lifelike wax statues of heroes and villains from Star Wars episodes 1 through 6. Madame Tussauds will be opening from Star Wars episodes 1 through 6. Madame Tussauds will be opening a new Orlando location this spring, not too far from Walt Disney World, but no announcements have been made that Star Wars will also be included there. Oh.
Which I didn't even know about the Madame Tussauds opening in Orlando until I saw this. I'm like, cool, and I have something else to do when I go to Disney.
Either. Like, hey, wait a second.
So if you can't make it to a convention where a Star Wars cast member is, you can go to their wax museum and get your picture taken with their character.
Mm-hmm. And they're pretty
like I said, like I was...
tell the difference.
Yeah.
In the picture.
Yeah.
Well, it is Madame Tussauds, so
Yeah.
that is what they are famous for.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the thing, I think it's only saying that it's in London. I don't know if it's going to be anywhere else.
Well, yeah. But if
Well,
if it does, or if you've just never been to a Madame Tussauds before, do it because they're fun.
well, don't
Yes.
they ever do like a traveling tour thing? I seem to remember there's Madame Tussauds exhibits.
Maybe
They visit.
maybe
major
once in a
US
while,
cities. I don't know.
but I don't think it's something they do on a regular basis, just because they have so many
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah.
locations now. So, but then the displays at each of the locations are different depending on the city it's in. So.
Yeah.
You can get a different experience if you go to the different ones. So, like London, you go to the one in London, you're going to get like the Queen and Prince William and Kate Middleton and apparently Yoda. But you go to Las Vegas and you can pretend you get married to George Clooney, like I did.
The one in New York City, you get the presents. I remember.
Oh, hey.
Okay, there you go. So.
Wherever you are, there's a Madame Tussauds for you.
I don't think they had all the presidents, like the major ones, and then they would also have the current president and the first family.
Yeah.
So, Well, there's a video on the site
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
So maybe take a look at that.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you're going to be headed to London, you need something to do. There you go. As if there isn't enough to do, but there you
I
go.
was gonna say
It's one more thing on the list.
One
is
more
what it
thing
is.
on the list. Like, okay, and now my dream trip to London has now been extended to like a month and a half. Because there's so much to do.
Yeah.
And that includes that
fail.
dream trip includes a side trip to Cardiff, by the way. So,
Yes.
don't think I wouldn't go to London and not go to Cardiff.
Right?
Especially since Brenda made it sound so easy.
Yeah.
She went
Yeah.
and sent in for Traveling the Vortex her feedback about that. So there you go.
Okay, moving on to our next bit of news. There is a first look at Frozen Fever, the new 7-minute short Frozen Fever, will debut on March 13th of Disney's live-action Cinderella in theaters. But a first look at a few frames of it have now been revealed. The short will tell the story of Princess Anna's birthday as Elsa, Kristoff, Olaf, and Sven aim to throw her a party. Elsa's a bit more lighthearted now that she's got her powers under control, but when she gets a cold, everything goes as planned. Elsa doesn't get a cold in the usual way, says co-director Jennifer Lee. She's special. Surprising things occur that wreak a little havoc. Sounds interesting.
So if you haven't been frozen
only
to
imagine.
death,
Explain some of the stuff that's been going around on Tumblr.
well,
I can only imagine what an Elsa cold would be like.
Yeah. Well, there's one of the images that if you just, I don't want to like potentially spoil anything. Although I guess they did put out the images on purpose. But one of the images it has like Anna and Elsa's like surrounded by like literally like her powers have been activated, except they're flowers instead of snowflakes.
Yeah, I
So
did see that.
that may
It was
be
like
an
the
indicator.
green and pink and everything. I'm just like, this is different.
Yeah, so that may be a little indicator of what may happen when Elsa gets sick. So instead of let it go,
Yeah.
it'll be let it bloom instead. I don't know. Who knows?
And it's one of these pre-feature shorts, so it's going to be like cute and lighthearted and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's like, man, what does that imply with the rest of her story? Yeah. But anyway.
Yeah. Well, Disney puts shorts in front of most of their pictures, so it's just.
And I love that they've started doing that.
Yeah. And
just kind of
sometimes they're known characters, sometimes they're not. Some they've done Mickey Mouse shorts, and like in front of Big Hero 6 was the
it was Feast,
yeah, which is really
dog.
cute. It's a story about a dog. So, but in this case, it's going to be more Frozen. So if you haven't had enough Frozen, there's more coming, and apparently there's a new song that is supposedly going to be as catchy as "Let It Go."
Oh boy!
So
here we go.
This may be a whole new influx. Yeah, those of you that are sick of Frozen, I'm so sorry.
If this movie bombs, if Cinderella bombs, people will still go and see it for
the Frozen short, probably.
They're like, okay, we've seen Frozen, we can leave now.
Yeah.
Well, actually, Cinderella does look like it's going to be a good movie, but we will see.
Yep.
All right. Moving along, this one's sort of a easy thing, but the first promo images of Arrow's Brandon Routh as Ray Palmer as oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
She's so excited.
Adam. Oh my gosh, I've had a crazy week, you guys. Anyway, in Arrow on the CW, Brandon Routh plays Ray Palmer, who he is working on a suit to become another superhero, and there's a whole story behind it. So if you've been watching this current season of Arrow, you know about it. But it's going to culminate in becoming the Atom. And so far, they have like he'll like show like a little piece of it to Felicity and like, here, can you help me with this, or something in his office. You'll see it, and it's like, oh, that's going to be part of his costume. And now they've revealed the entire suit, and the episode that he's finally going to be suiting up as the Atom is episode 15, Nanda Parbat. I hope I said that right. I don't think I did. But it was revealed during the Television Critics Association press tour, and that they're actually thinking of an Atom spin-off. So that would mean you would have The Flash, Arrow, and the Atom having their own show within that universe, that DC universe on TV, which, you know what? The way Flash and Arrow have been going, I would not be opposed to. Like, more superheroes, more of this kind of storytelling, bring it on. I mean, if DC can't make it happen at the movies, if they can do it they're doing it on the small screen, so I say, let's do it. And Supergirl is going to be on CBS coming up for pretty soon. Can't remember the exact dates on. I don't know if that's going to be in the same universe, although CBS, the parent company of CBS, partially owns the CW, so there could be an in for that somehow, maybe. But that's speculation at this point.
Yeah.
The point is, we are getting Adam on Arrow, and Brandon Routh is kind of amazing in that show, so let's do it.
Yeah.
Bring it on.
Okay, so if they do have a spin-off for the Atom, will Felicity be on it too?
Maybe, depending on what this... I mean, she's been on The Flash. They've crossed over that way, so I don't see why they wouldn't be able to do that.
Well, I was just thinking, because,
I'm looking at the suit, and it kind of reminds me of Captain America.
Yeah, it does. A little bit.
Especially with the big A.
There's an A. It's
blue, red and blue. I look at this and I see Captain America. I'm sorry. I know it's completely the wrong
it's okay.
universe,
company.
But
yeah.
Well, you know what? A lot of these superheroes, they do kind of. I mean, how many? It's there's endless possibilities of ideas you can come up for superheroes, but at the same time, we kind of keep going back to the same sorts of powers and things like that. I mean,
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah. So it's so I mean they all kind of have analogous powers to each other, but they're all kind of different. I think it's like all the backstory that makes them interesting and cool. And honestly, I'm not even sure what Adam does.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. I'm like, what is he supposed to do? Is he supposed to?
I'm kind of wondering if he's like some kind of because he's just
Or no. Maybe,
I don't know. Because it's just because he's just a normal guy that's building this suit. So
well, that we know of. Maybe there's a backstory that we don't know yet. Because we haven't really gotten too many from him.
Has Arrow started up again? Cause
yeah, it started up again. They are.
Then that's one of the shows I'm behind on.
Okay, yeah, they have at least 3 episodes out, maybe 4. I can't remember. It's all run together for me.
I think there's been 3. Last week was the 3rd episode.
Well, I'm a couple episodes behind on Elementary. I'm 3 episodes or so behind on Flash and Arrow now, and I just got caught up on Supernatural.
I will say this about Arrow, because I have been it's a kind of a tangent. Yes, it's a tangent. I have been very hard on the character of Laurel Lance, because from season 1, she is just like, well, pretty much everybody who isn't Oliver or Felicity are like, I don't care about any of these characters. You're not interesting. Go away. And no one more so than Laurel Lance. I'm like, why are you even here? Go away. And when Tommy died, spoilers, at the end of season 1, I was like, couldn't you take Laurel with you? Because I just have no interest in her character whatsoever. The next season, they brought in Laurel's sister Sarah, who is the Canary, and she was awesome. I liked her a lot. And then the beginning of this season, well, man, they killed off Sarah, and I was like, and then they were like setting up for Laurel to be the new Black Canary, and I was like, no, I don't care about you. Why do I have to care about you? I will say, since Arrow has come back from the hiatus, they have gone not a long way toward rehabilitating, because there's no about this, because I've never cared about her, but they've gone a long way to fixing Laurel's character somewhat. I don't want to say that I'm totally on board with her and she's the new awesome whatever, but kind of what they've done, they've made her a little more interesting, and not just because they've given her the black jacket and the blonde wig. I'm not ready to jump on the I love Laurel train yet, I will say that. But there is an opening here that if they choose to take it, they could make... There's a possibility that she could become a better character than she has been so far. She's not going to be my favorite ever, but she's a little more interesting, and a lot of it has to do with the way this whole storyline with her sister and her dad have gone, and I think so I'm hoping that it's going to get better. She's never going to be my favorite, but I mean, there's always going to be that little bit of, you're so annoying. But she's gotten better. So I'll say that. That was a long tangent for something that we weren't really even talking about.
Oh, well.
Anyway.
Tangent.
Tangents and squee.
That's what we do best. What we do best.
I just had to say that. And we can move on with the news.
Yeah. On to our last bit of news, and it's actually kind of old. We probably should have covered this last week, but I forgot to add it, but that's okay. So recently at Universal in Orlando, they had a celebration of Harry Potter. So it was a weekend, and they had, fans dressed in their wizarding gear and capes and house scarves everywhere, and wands. But they brought in some of the cast and crew, including Ivania Lynch, who did a wand duel on stage with some fans against Paul Harris, who was the wand combat choreographer on the Potter films, and he's the only. First of all, that is the coolest title like ever in as far as like film roles. Wand combat choreographer. He's the only person in the world with this title. That he was the one that taught the cast to how to wield their wands and the body language for the different spells and everything. But they had an impromptu wand battle on stage, which was kind of cool. They also had I'm gonna butcher this guy's name. I'm so sorry. Kazu Kibushi. He's an illustrator, but he's the one that did the newest round of covers for the Potter books.
Okay.
And he did them all digitally. They're digital paintings, is what they were. So that they had him demonstrate some of his technique, and then they had a behind the scenes presentation about the new stuff in Diagon Alley, which is the second section for the Wizarding World of Harry Potter down in Universal, with some of the visual folks, including the art director from the Harry Potter films, Alan Gilmore. And of course, people ask questions, and people asked about future expansions. The Wizarding World is currently under construction at Universal in Hollywood, but people are like, are you going to build anything else in Florida, or what about maybe in London or something like that? And of course, he couldn't say anything, but he did say that he has said previously and still thinks that the Ministry of Magic would make a good addition to the theme parks. So, of course, that's all speculation, and probably hopeful wishing on his part. But that still is I haven't seen Diagon Alley in person yet, although that is on the plans for our next trip to Florida. So I'm very excited to see the expansion. But yeah, bring on more. Bring
Might
on
as
more.
well.
Let's see. The only thing that gets me into those other parks and off of Disney property is Harry Potter. So, just saying. So.
Harry Potter is still going strong.
Going strong.
So
Oh yes. Oh yes.
the Rocky Mountain Muggles had a bunch of pictures on Facebook. They put up a bunch more from FanX, and they had all their pictures of Tom Felton coming to visit their booth at the con, and it was so cool to see and everything. And he was like, he just totally had a blast. Like, he actually left his celebrity row table to come to their booth where they had all the cosplayers and backdrops and stuff. And I was like, dang it, I wish I'd been there. But yeah, Harry Potter's still very much a big thing. So it is.
Oh yeah.
That's cool that they want to do a Ministry of Magic.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's like, the wizarding government, which sounds like it would be, government on its own is boring, but add wizarding, oh yeah, that's awesome.
And figure out a way for people to be able to experience like the flu network or something. That would be really cool.
Oh yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
The Department of Mysteries
So I want
have to have that too.
one way to get. Be interesting of like all the different ways to get in, because there's that telephone, and in the last book it was the toilet.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, the phone was the guest entrance. The toilet was the employee entrance.
Yeah.
Yes.
Still.
Or it was like the secure entrance after Voldemort came back and they had to scan everybody or whatever. I don't know.
No, that didn't exactly work out, did it?
Nope.
No, it didn't.
So that's it for news. few pieces of housekeeping, though. We did have another Marvel with Friends last night. So we did the tweet along with Thor. So thank you to everybody that was able to make it. I know Chrissy got caught up in life, and Glenn did too, and Sean was MIA again. I don't know what Sean. I don't know what's happening with Sean.
So bad. I feel terrible because I fully intended to do it. I had it all ready to go, and like I said, I don't know if I mentioned last week, I started a new job, and it's a full-time job now, and I'm trying to get used to this new schedule, and I just spaced it because it's my first week, and the new job's going great. I'm loving it, and things are going good, but oh boy, I get tired after a while.
After 40 hours.
And I have to do, and then there's stuff I've got to, that I normally do I used to do during the week when I didn't have to work, when I wasn't working so much, and now I have to cram it all in the weekend. I just spaced it. So now that I kind of know what my workload's going to be, I can schedule myself better, and I will be there for Captain America on
21st.
21st, thank you. So I'm like trying to remember 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So yeah, Captain America. I gotta be there for Peggy Carter's debut. Come on.
As Keith pointed out on Twitter last night, he's like, I'm looking forward to Captain America. We're watching it right before the end of Agent Carter, and I'm like, yeah, we planned it like that.
Mm-hmm. Totally. And I love Thor. I had so many things I wanted to say about it.
That was only the second time I'd seen Thor, so I was kind of quiet for most of it, because I was all like, I don't remember this. I don't remember this.
I've seen enough. I think I was probably the most talkative.
It
seemed like me. Keith and I.
Yeah. Well, when you've
seen it so many times.
when you've seen it often enough, you can talk about it because you're not trying to catch what's going on. Like, I'm going to be like that when we watch the Avengers in like 4 weeks, like a month or something. I'm probably gonna be like tweeting away just because I can quote the Avengers like word for word. It is ridiculous how many times I've seen it.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm glad it went well.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry I missed it. I'm like really, really kicking myself because I came home. It was like 10 o'clock at night, and I checked Facebook and Twitter, and I was like, "No, Thor was on. We were doing Thor tonight."
Yeah.
So I cannot overstate how much I love that movie. Yeah. But anyway, it's over.
We get to see your own tweet along.
I could carve out some time and do my own tweet along because I own it.
Yeah.
So. And I'm pretty sure quite a few of us will jump in again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will not pass up.
If you guys are around when I'm doing my little catch-up tweet along, if I end up doing it, then
It's like,
anyway.
hard for me to pass up an opportunity to watch, something out of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. When it has Tom Hiddleston in it, even better.
Yes.
So Marvel with Friends in 2 weeks on the 21st of February. We're doing Captain America, the First Avenger, and I don't think we've decided on a hashtag just because that's a really long title. So you may just have to play with it depending on,
maybe we
how long.
Maybe we do Captain America for this one, and then for the Winter Soldier, just do Captain America 2.
Yeah, or Winter Soldier.
Or Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. We'll think of something.
Yeah.
Marvel with Friends will definitely be the one hashtag to look for.
Definitely. So.
Yeah.
Use the hashtag that works so that you have enough characters to write out whatever message it is you're wanting to write out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, alrighty then. So, that's it for news. So moving on, like we mentioned last week, we did our Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. mid-season, first season recap, so we have to discuss our other major fandom, one of the major fandoms, Once Upon a Time. As if you didn't have, like I mentioned earlier, if you're sick of Frozen, you may want to walk away. If you're not sick of Frozen, stick around.
A of Once Upon a Time was Frozen Palooza.
Yes.
But not in a gratuitous way, I must say, because that was kind of what when Frozen, when it said, Once Upon a Time is doing Frozen, and people were just like, oh, they're jumping on the bandwagon to get on this cash cow, and I'm like, not necessarily. I mean, yes, it's a popular thing, and yes, that probably helped their ratings and all that kind of stuff, but it actually fit in really well with the story that they were trying to tell and where it left off at the end of season 3, and just because I've said before, I saw Frozen. I saw the movie Frozen, and then at the same time I was watching Once Upon a Time, and I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much in Frozen that parallels with what the story's going on with Once Upon a Time, and this was before they were going to do Frozen. So when the ending of season 3 came along and they teased, hey, Frozen's coming, and it was like, well, of course it's going to, because that just fits in with their story, and they would be dumb not to do it at some point. And it was just done really, really well. The storytelling was amazing, and the casting was just pitch perfect. Mm-hmm. Oh, it was so good. So, let's see. I'm trying to think I guess we could just start, because we did do our review of the premiere for season 4.
Yes.
Whatever episode that was back.
Tale of Two Sisters.
Tale of Two Sisters.
Yes.
Well, our episode.
Oh, yeah, our episode. Woo.
Yeah, our episode number.
Our episode.
I think it was 15, wasn't it?
Sure,
17. 17.
17?
Yep.
17 too.
You were close.
You were close.
17.
So anyway, the premiere kind of caught up with everybody and gave us little bits and pieces of what are all our characters doing since the finale of season 3, and then so episode 2 of season 4 is Whiteout, and it's so at the end of the first episode, Elsa goes to Mr. Gold's shop and finds a necklace that belongs to her sister. So she's like, her sister's in Storybrooke, so she creates this great big ice wall around the town, and nobody leaves the town until Elsa says so, until she finds her sister.
And they get a live-action marshmallow to boot.
Yeah,
Marshmallow!
Yay!
I love Marshmallow. I don't know why. I mean, Olaf's cute and all, but I love Marshmallow. I cannot explain why I love Marshmallow more than I love Olaf, because Marshmallow tries to kill people. But it's only because Elsa is scared, and it's like a manifestation of her fear, and she's trying to protect herself.
Yeah.
But I just love it.
Mm-hmm.
But Whiteout is so Emma and David, in their capacity as co-sheriffs, I guess they're heading out to the town line to see what this, because the power goes out. You go out to see what's going on, and they and then they meet up with Hook. He's out there because Emma called him and said, "Hey, we need help." And then they find Elsa. Emma and Elsa. This is gonna.
Yeah, I know.
I'm like, anyway.
Emma, Anna,
and Anna, yeah. And Elsa. Emma finds Elsa, and Elsa is like, don't come near me. She because she's scared, she's not in control of her powers, and she creates a cave-in where she and Emma are trapped in, and Elsa is trying to play this off like, oh yeah, I totally meant to do that, even though she obviously didn't. So she's like, go find my sister, and they go. So Hook and David go out and try to figure out if they can find where Anna is. And then in flashback, they show a thing where Anna goes to the Enchanted Forest, and she meets David before he became Prince Charming, when he was a shepherd boy. Mm-hmm. And so this is like long before he ever met Snow White or anything like that. And
she goes by a completely different name, by Joan.
Yes. So that's why.
Is the name of the portrait in Frozen. Remember that hanging in there, Joan?
When she's singing to
Hang in there, Joan. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Joan of Arc.
I totally didn't get that till someone on
Tumblr pointed it out, and I'm like, oh yeah.
And that's just one example of all the little Frozen
nods
references there are throughout this entire story arc. So it's like the Frozen arc doesn't overpower the story, but it just kind of flavors it a little bit, and it's just so much fun.
Yeah.
So Hook and David go back into the town, and they try to figure out where Anna is, but they do find little Bo Peep, who is a warlord. Which I thought was
very interesting
hilarious.
twist.
Yeah, I was like, what's going on here?
But they played it off so well, because in the flashback, like she really is. She's in the pink flowered shepherdess outfit, like you would think. You've seen Toy Story. There's the little figurine of Bo Peep. It's basically her, but she is like this mean. She's a warlord, and she, has come to collect, or she's like a mafia don or something like that, or she kind of acts like that. And like they go to her estate, and she's in this, white gazebo, and it's all flowers and pretty and gauzy. And then and she's got the staff, and she is trying to, and she's got all these guards, and they try to beat up David, and it's so funny, and it's like. You wouldn't think that they would be able to pull that off, but it makes sense within the show.
It works so well.
It really does. So it's just one more example of Once Upon a Time doing something that should be totally stupid and ridiculous, but because it's this kind of show and because of the style it is with the fairy tales, it works. And you do believe that this woman was this terrifying bully that terrorized David and his mother back in the day, and now that they're in Storybrooke, and there's this wonderful scene where they're facing down modern day Bo Peep in her butcher shop, and David's just like, you don't scare me anymore, I'm not that scared little shepherd boy, and they take the little the shepherd staff, because that's what's going to help them find Anna, and then they go back, and then they figure out that Anna is still alive somewhere. We just don't know where she is, and they get and Elsa. There's this really good moment where David, because they're on the 2-way radio, and David talks to Elsa because Emma is freezing to death, and it ain't. It's pretty, not pretty, and David says, you can't just live in fear, and it's all these things that Anna told him, but he didn't realize that it was Anna because she was going by Joan. And so they go back, and then they realize that Anna is still alive. And so for the rest of, then the next, and then at the end of that episode, they cut away to the ice cream shop in town where we see Elizabeth Mitchell's character is serving ice cream. Turns out she is the Snow Queen, and this is like after Elsa has told Emma, yeah, I don't know anyone else who has my powers, and then that's just sort of a cue, like, there's someone else that has your powers, that has similar powers. And you know what, the last season 3, my favorite villain in Once Upon a Time was Zelena, the Wicked Witch, and I didn't think that they'd be able to get anyone better, but then they got the Snow Queen, and yes. Like, I still love Zelena. I just love how she's just this jealous, manic, over-the-top scenery-chewing. She's the Wicked Witch, and that's just how she is. I mean, that's what you think of when you think of Wicked Witch. And then with... Oh, go ahead.
You finish what you're saying, then we'll do a slight tangent.
Well, I was going to say, like, the... But then you have the Snow Queen, who is just totally the opposite. Because she's just this cold... pun intended, or not intended, whatever. She's just this slick, cold,
calculating
person, calculating, and she doesn't lose her temper. She doesn't go off. She knows what she wants. She tells you what's going to happen, and you do not believe for 1 second that she is not going to make this happen, whatever it is that she wants. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they get the villains so right in this show, with the exception of Pan, but we already talked about that. Yeah. But anyway,
I don't know if you've seen, but Rebecca Nader, who played Selena, is supposed to be making a return appearance for 4B.
I did see that she's coming back, and I was just like, heck yes!
So this should be interesting.
I love her. I was like, whew, I want you to have your own spinoff.
So it's hard to say if it's going to be flashbacks or if this is going to be present period. So we're going to have to stay tuned.
We'll see. I would not be opposed to having a flashback for 4B. So in episode 3, like Mary Margaret has become the mayor because she's the one that cast the curse.
Yeah. De facto rules.
So that was funny when the dwarves Granny came in and said, "It's your curse. You got to run the town now." So she's doing that, and
with a new baby.
With a new baby, and it's not like, I mean, she's having this meeting, and it's not like David's there is like, here, I'll take the baby while you run the meeting, and she's like, no, I'm good. And she's holding the baby the whole time. And it's kind of, they kind of explore this idea that Snow is, that Mary Margaret, because she lost her first baby to the curse, she doesn't want to, she's like terrified to lose her newborn again. And, she almost did lose him to Zelena's spell. So it's kind of an interesting little exploration. They don't spend a whole lot of time on it because it's, this story arc very much feels like this is Emma coming into her own, and she has to have Elsa's friendship to kind of help her realize. I mean, yes, she's chosen that Storybrooke is going to be her new home. She's going to stay with her family, and she's got this new relationship with Hook, which is just so much fun to watch. So I love it. And then but she's spent so much of her life running away and not belonging anywhere, so she's got to get used to this new dynamic in her life. And episode 3, it really kind of showcases that she is still she's still used to doing things on her own, and she doesn't like that she got caught in that cave-in, that she almost died, and even Regina kind of snipes at her like, well, you can't do anything, or I can't remember what is that she says, you're like, oh yeah, you're gonna need backup because you got stuck in that cave-in or something like that. And Regina's smarting because Marion's back, and Robin Hood is going back to his wife because it's the honorable thing to do. So Regina's off having her party out. Yeah. And you do feel bad for Regina, but at the same time, you're just kind of like, okay, pity party again, honey. But it turns out that Emma is she's scared that now that she's chosen that she's decided that she wants to stay here and have be with her family and the people that she cares about. She's afraid that they're all going to get hurt, and that. She even says to Hook at the end, like, everybody that she's been with is dead, which is true. Like, she points it out, everybody that she's ever cared about, and he says, like, that he's a survivor and he's always going to be there, and it's just like, oh, you too.
Yeah.
The Captain Swan ship is sailing strong.
Yes, very much.
Yeah, very strong. Like
I
say, go down with that ship.
I will go down with that ship. I actually heard that song the other day in a story. Anyway. I was even
That's not what Dido had in mind, I think, when she recorded that song.
But that's how I'm taking it. Probably not. So, and then also, there's a little bit of a side thing that becomes a big issue, is when they go to Gold's shop to ask him something about Anna, if he knows where she is, because Elsa found the necklace in his shop. Belle is there with the dagger that Rumple gave her as a wedding present, but it's the fake dagger, so she's supposed to be able to control him if she chooses to, but with the fake, she can't, because Rumple has it stashed away somewhere, because he's a manipulating little blankety
SOB.
blank. Yes. choose your
insult
vanity right there. So they're all there, and Hook kind of looks at Mr. Gold thinking, okay, yeah, you wouldn't give up power that easily. And Hook goes back and he calls Gold out on it and says, that's a fake dagger. You didn't really give Belle the real dagger. And I'm going to tell her that unless you do certain things. I have this hanging over your head, which comes into play in the next episode, which is awesome because it starts out with Emma asking Hook out on a date. It was like because they're at Granny's and Hook is playing darts, just throwing darts at the board, and he's hitting the bullseye, and then Emma goes, "That's great because I'm going to ask you out. I want to ask you out on a date," and Hook just totally biffs it or totally misses the dart board when she asks him.
And then we get the lovely meet the parents scene again at the...
Mm-hmm. But even before that, so Hook goes back to Gold's shop, because apparently Gold has kept Hook's left hand.
Mm-hmm.
And I just keep thinking, on this episode of Hoarders, we visit with Rumpelstiltskin, who
or something.
stashes everything, including
at least
centuries-old decapitated hands.
At least when Jack Harkness kept the doctor's hand, it was for good intentions.
He had a reason for that. That was to help find the doctor. Gold kept Hook's hand.
And it wasn't for all that long in the...
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the long run.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, ew, that's so gross.
Uh-huh.
But Hook wants his hand back because he thinks that he needs it to... That Emma will love him more if he has that, because and it speaks a lot to his character that he just does not, because he's gone to hell and back for this woman, and it's obvious that he cares about her very much, and she does, and she cares for him too. It just, she's a little slower in the process of showing it.
Yeah.
So he's like, maybe this will, kind of help the relationship along or something. I don't know. And I'm just kind of, my heart breaks for the poor guy. But so he uses this blackmail to get his hand back. And this is where we get, and this is the episode where he ditches the old leather, the old heavy leather pirate outfit, and he has a more modern leather pirate outfit.
And then Gold does say, "You sure you really want that hand back? Because, you're not the same person you were when you had that hand chopped off." And talk about a self-fulfilling prophecy later on down the...
Yeah, because Gold says, this hand belongs to, that vengeful pirate, and it could, has consequences, and Hook's just like, yeah, whatever. So they go on their date, and it's the cutest thing ever. Oh. And then they have to meet the parents with Snow and Charming being all embarrassing parents sending their daughter on her first date, even though this daughter is like, almost 30 years old. She has her own son, and she's
she's 30. She has a kid of her own.
She's lived her life, but it's so funny because Snow's got the camera, and David's got, he's got the disapproving dad look, but not really disapproving, just, the intimidating dad look, which is funny because David and Hook are like best buds at this point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Elsa, even, she's just like, she looks at Emma's dress and like, where's the rest of it? Is that just the corset?
Welcome to the 21st century, Elsa.
Yeah, and they just fawn over Emma, and it's so wonderful. So they go on their date, and Will Scarlet is at the restaurant, and he's trying to, because he had to run in with Emma because she's the sheriff, and he's a thief. So he's trying to get out of the restaurant before Emma sees him, and in his haste to get out, he accidentally spills a glass of wine on Emma's dress, and Hook grabs him with his hand, with his quote cursed hand, and looks like he's gonna kill him. And Emma's like, no, it's okay, it's fine. And Hook realizes what he's done. It unnerves him, obviously. But then the rest of the night goes well, and there's a good night kiss, and Snow and David are waiting up for Emma, and Snow's just like, did you go? It's like, tell us all about it. Give us all the details. Like, David's like, yeah, we don't need to hear all the details.
This is something Dad wants to stay oblivious to.
Yep. It's like, we don't need to know everything. And Snow's like, was there a good night kiss? And David's like, what are the things I don't need to know about? Oh, they're so funny as Emma's parents when they're in parent mode with Emma. It is so cute.
Yes.
But yes, the date went very well. But then Hook he's like kind of wandering around the town, and he runs into Will Scarlet again, who is breaking into the library of all things, and he punches out Hook punches out Will Scarlet, and he's like, and it unnerves him. He's like, I didn't mean to do that. That's my hand and everything. It's cursed. So he goes back to Gold, and Gold's like, okay, I'll help you get rid of that cursed hand, but you got to do something for me. And then they track down this old man who is the apprentice, who they show in flashback. This is also the episode where in the flashback they show Anna meeting Rumpelstiltskin. And Rumple tricks Anna into thinking that she is like the most terrible, awful person in the world, which Anna is Miss Susie Sunshine, everything is perfect. And so, he tricks Anna into, the apprentice ends up getting turned into a mouse, because Rumple poisoned him, and Anna didn't give him the antidote that she was sent to give him, but she thought was poison. Anyway, this is dealing with Rumpelstiltskin. You're never getting what you think you're getting.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much. But then back in Storybrooke, Rumple gets Hook to help him capture the apprentice in the sorcerer's hat that they found in the premiere episode, and this hat is going to separate Rumple from the dagger, so he doesn't have to be under the dagger's control anymore. And so, and Hook is, he's kind of the muscle. He's just recruited to be the muscle to keep the apprentice from getting away while the hat sucks him up. And then so Hook loses his hand again, gets his hook back, and at the end Emma notices like he goes back to the sheriff's station, and Rumple has this over his head now, because Rumple's like, I'll tell people what you did, that you helped me kill this guy. And so now Hook is going down into the spiral of self-loathing all over again. It's like, Rumple, you jerk. But then again, Hook, you did kind of step in it. So at this point,
Rumple has that effect on people.
Oh yes. Yeah. Mhm. All right. So in the next episode is Breaking Glass, and this is when Regina comes out from her little pity party for a little while, and she and Emma end up inadvertently teaming up to find the Snow Queen, who is out running around doing her thing, and the Snow Queen has caught Elsa, because Elsa ran off trying to find her sister, and so Regina and Emma kind of end up, they were trying to, what did they do? Anyway, they team up to defeat the Snow Queen, but Regina's still like, I don't want to be your friend. I don't want to, and Emma, she's taking her savior duties very seriously. Like and part of her being the savior is bringing back everyone's happy endings, including Regina's. And Regina's just like, nah, I don't want to do it. And I didn't like this episode as much, just because Regina, I was kind of annoyed by her. Really. And then this is the one with the flashback of, I think this is the one with Emma when she was a kid.
I think you're right.
Yes.
You get we get more Emma backstory with this arc.
Yes. Yes, we do, which is like, finally. Because everybody else is, which is fun because we get to see people as their fairy tale, in the fairy tale past, but Emma, like, we only hear about her past in the foster system and in the real world, because it's the real world, it's kind of boring. But it's still important in her character arc, and in this flashback it shows her as a teenager, and she has run away from her foster family, and she meets this girl who has also run away from her home, and Emma thinks that this girl Lily is an orphan in the foster system. It turns out Lily actually does have a family that she is running away from, and Emma feels betrayed because this girl lied to her, even to be her friend, and she actually has a family, which is something Emma's like, if I had that, you kind of see in the end, if Emma had that family, she wouldn't run away, because that's one thing she's always wanted is a mom and a dad and a home and someone that loves her, and granted we don't know what Lily's home life is like, but in Emma's mind it's like, why would you give that up, because that's where she's coming from. And so at the end of the episode, Emma's going through some of her old childhood memorabilia, and Hook comes in, and he's kind of like, he kind of asks her if he can see what, these things that she's kept, and a lot of it turns out that stuff that reminds Emma of people who have betrayed her, and that kind of is a reminder of don't trust people, which is kind of a sad thing. And then the episode ends with they're looking at this videotape, and it's of Emma at one of her foster homes, and turns out that the woman who is the Snow Queen was one of her foster parents, but Emma does not remember it for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And so kind of in a twist of everyone in Storybrooke is related. It's not necessarily that Emma is related, but she almost was adopted by.
Yeah, well, because is it the next episode or a later episode that they have a little bit more of that story with the Snow Queen fostering Emma, and it gets to the point where the Snow Queen is getting ready to adopt Emma, but then she she's starting to teach Emma to bring out her magic, and she goes a little too far, and Emma freaks right out and runs away.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was like in...
That was close to the end.
Yeah, that's closer to the end, but, that's that part where... And then because eventually they find out what the Snow Queen wants, and her name is Ingrid. And it turns out Ingrid is Elsa and Anna's aunt. It was their mom's sister. And then, because in the episode called The Snow Queen, which I think is one of... there was some good flashback material in this season, but I think this one was my favorite.
Yeah.
With it showed the Snow Queen's backstory, where she has these two sisters, and they're just best friends, and Ingrid grows up with these snow powers like Elsa did, and the two sisters Helga and Gerda, they say, okay, we're going to stick together through this, and her Ingrid's powers kind of scare her like Elsa's did, and she doesn't want to hurt anybody, she doesn't want to be a freak or anything like that, but her sisters kind of help her through having these powers, and so they have these ribbons that they keep as kind of a reminder of this promise that they made to each other to always be there for each other, and that sisterly bond creates magic and that kind of thing. And so as they grow up, Helga and Gerda, they go to royal balls, and they do all these things, and Ingrid just kind of sits in her room and doesn't talk to anybody, even though her sisters are like, oh, come and come out and talk to people, and they're gonna love you no matter what, and everything. And Ingrid's just like, no, we've got to find a way to get rid of this magic. And so they learn about Rumpelstiltskin, and Rumpelstiltskin gives gives Ingrid gloves and the urn, the magic urn that she had been trapped in before. Later. And so like the gloves are the gloves that Elsa had in the movie that kept her powers from getting out of control. But they trade the ribbons that the girls were wearing for these objects that'll keep Ingrid's powers in check. And Ingrid accidentally freezes Helga, her sister Helga, because the Duke of Weaseltown...
Wesselton!
I will call him Weaseltown until the end of...
That's because he is a weasel.
He is a weasel, yeah. So they bring in Weaseltown, and it's the younger version of him, but he's just spot on for the character in the animated movie.
It's
perfect casting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's amazing what they do. And so, like, he's over there, and he's, like, trying to squirrel out Ingrid's secrets, and Ingrid freaks out, and Helga's there trying to stop it, but Ingrid accidentally freezes Helga, and she dies, and Gerda comes out. Weaseltown's, he's ran off somewhere. Gerda comes out, and she opens the urn, and she traps her sister inside the urn. And then they go to, and Gerda goes to the rock trolls, to Grandpappy, and says, we have to erase all memory of my sisters, because people will wonder where they are, and I just don't want to deal with the responsibility of that. And so, you can only imagine, you have Gerda, who's going to be the next Queen of Arendelle, and then her daughter is born with these ice powers, and it's just like, oh my gosh, this is happening all over again. What am I going to do? So that kind of serves to, I guess, explain what Anna and Elsa's parents did in Frozen, with the whole conceal, don't feel, don't let it show kind of thing.
Fail.
Yeah, that didn't work so well.
How it should have ended got it right.
How it should have ended did it perfectly. Is oh wow, you guys are bad parents. Oh my gosh, the answer is love. So anyway.
And then around this time too, we get the return of Sydney Glass.
Oh yeah, Sydney Glass is running around schmoozing with whoever will give him a job, and Ingrid eventually just says, I don't need you anymore. And this is after Sydney's totally broken off with Regina, and now he's like has nowhere to go, and so who knows what the heck happened to him. No idea. And there's also and there's also some backstory with Belle. We actually learn about her mother for like the first 5 minutes, and then her mother dies in the Ogre's War. And like she's trying to, so Belle goes to find out what happened to her mother exactly, and she goes to Arendelle because the rock trolls can do memory magic, and she meets Anna, and Belle, she runs into the Snow Queen, into Ingrid, because Anna is trying to figure out, the truth behind Ingrid and what she really wants, and Belle fails to save Anna, and so Anna gets trapped by the Snow Queen, and Belle runs away, and so she's like, so she feels guilty about that happening, and at the same time, she I'm trying to remember how that went, because that was one episode I kind of forgot. Because that's the one that she almost comes close to finding out about the dagger, about the dagger she has is a fake, and I'm just sitting the whole time I'm sitting here going, come on, find out, figure it out, and Rumple's there like, oh, I was trying to save you, I was trying to do this, and so like she was, and then so Belle ends up using Rumple to make him help her find where the Snow Queen is and what she's planning, and Rumple the whole time's like, I don't want to do it. So Belle feels bad for trying to control Rumple with the dagger, even though Rumple is a lying sack of crap. Still, I won't say the other word because we're trying to keep this PG over here. And just the whole time I'm just sitting there going, no, get out of here. Get out. I don't, no more with you.
Yeah, I mean, I was even getting to the point, too. I'm just like, there's only so far I can defend you, and you. It's just, enough's enough.
No freaking kidding.
It's just like,
I was just like,
Hook just deserves to walk in and, hey, Belle, here's what your sweetheart's been doing.
Yeah, I was like, come on, Hook, just tell her. Oh. Which, that all brings us to the big 2-hour episode, Smash the Mirror. And this is the big Emma-centric one, because, like, right then, well, in the previous episode, Emma's power started to kind of go out of control, the same way Elsa's did, and it was all because Ingrid, because they caught Ingrid and they brought her to like the sheriff's station, and Emma ran off, and during the interrogation, Ingrid said some things to Emma like, your family actually fears you because of your magic and all these different things, and it kind of brings back that whole complex Emma has of people that she cares about leaving or being taken from her, and she doesn't want them to get hurt. She doesn't want to hurt anybody, and so her powers are starting to freak out, and so she runs away, and she actually does accidentally hurt David in the process of this. And there's this moment where Snow is like, Emma.
Yeah, she scolds her like she's 3 or something.
Yeah. And you can tell Snow feels bad about that. I was just like, oh no, this is not good. And
good job, Mary Margaret.
Yeah, and earlier in the episode, there was like a moment where Emma was going to babysit her little brother, but her powers were doing something funky, and Snow was just like, never mind.
It must have been something with the baby bottle or something. I can't.
Yeah. Emma was holding the baby bottle, and the baby bottle, like the milk inside the bottle was boiling, just from Emma holding it, because her magic was kind of going haywire. Which I could understand.
Wasn't she kind of like getting angry or grumpy at that? I can't remember. It's been a while since I've seen that episode.
She was just kind of. Okay, so they went to this. So there was like this mommy and me. There was like all these little the babies of Storybrooke and their mommies. We're having a little sing-song class, and I think it was just kind of sort of a tender or kind of a sore spot a little bit between Emma and Mary Margaret.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because it's supposed to be for like first-time mothers.
Yeah, it's for first-time mothers, but Snow isn't a first-time mother technically, but she never. But
she's a first-time parent.
Yes,
that's the difference.
So it's kind of you can see both sides definitely, and you can see where the pain and the hurt kind of comes from, and it's sort of, it's like what do you do? Like, what do you say to that? So it kind of, that's kind of the foundation, the emotional turmoil, the foundation of the emotional turmoil that's going on. So Emma, she runs off, and she doesn't want to be found because her magic is after like the at the sheriff's station, she like blows out the wall and she knocks over a light pole, which hits David, which would have hit Hook if David hadn't pushed him out of the way, because Hook was trying to go after Emma, and the light pole was coming down on him. So Emma takes off in the bug, and everybody's out looking for her, and they can't find her. Henry does find her, but she accidentally blasts him with her magic. And it's like, really freaking her out. So she goes to Mr. Gold and she asks him, do you have something that will stop my magic? And turns out the lying sack of crap does have something. And it's called the Sorcerer's Hat that he trapped the apprentice in. But he doesn't tell her that. He just says, I've got something, meet me at this place at this time, and we'll get this sorted out. I mean, if this is what you really want, if you really want your magic gone, it'll be permanent. You can never, it'll never come back again. And she's just like, I don't want to hurt anybody. And like the kicker for her was that she hurt Henry. So they go into this mansion on, the mansion that where Belle and Rumple had their honeymoon, And so Rumple sets up the hat. So when Emma opens the door, she's going to be sucked into the hat. And this whole time I'm just sitting here going, are you freaking serious? Are you kidding me? Like, you are actually going to do this against Emma? And and Hook kind of puts two and two together what's going to happen. And so does Elsa in her own way, and they're both kind of going after her. And there is this one moment where Hook's off looking for Emma, and Emma like leaves a message with her mom's phone, and Hook kind of realizes, because she says, Mr. Gold's got something, I'm gonna get this taken care of. And Hook realizes that it's the hat, and it's not just that Emma is going to lose her magic; she's gonna die. Or, she's gonna be gone forever. So there is just this, oh gosh, heartbreaking, gut-wrenching moment in Gold's shop, and Hook goes looking for Emma, and he's like, just frantic looking for her, and he calls Emma's cell phone and leaves his voice message explaining everything to her, that he made this deal with Rumple, and he was he knows about the hat, and it's going to kill her, and she's got to get away from them, and even if it means that she hates Hook now because he's been lying to her, and which, compared to the lies Rumple's told Belle,
that's nothing.
Yeah,
this is
minor.
This is very minor. What
Which that really proves how much better a person Hook is than Rumple.
Yeah.
And Rumple's going around saying like, "Oh, I've changed. I've changed for my wife. I'm such the better man. I'm this,
sure.
and you're still this, selfish, vengeful pirate. Blah blah blah." And I'm just like, "Bull crap, you son of a gun! Oh, this makes you hate Rumple even more." Just this whole time, and so. Yeah, so they figure out that so they figure out where Emma's going, and Elsa figures it out first, or she gets there first, and
she talks her off the ledge.
Yeah, basically has to talk her off the ledge, because she's standing in the room, and all she has to do is open the door, and her magic will be gone, but she will be gone too. And Elsa just says, "Look," basically tells Emma that magic is part of you. And all these people love you, and they care about you, and they want you. And Elsa just says, I've been there. I know what you're going through, and it will get better. And this whole thing is just very well written, and very just knows what the characters are doing.
The parallels between Elsa and Emma they're there.
Yes. Yes. And I'm just
like amazing the way they show those parallels and stuff.
Yeah.
And they've been building up this friendship between Elsa and Emma, which I'm just sitting here going, why does this arc have to end? Why do the Frozen characters have to go away? I want them to stay in Storybrooke. I mean, I know you have to get back to Arendelle and rule your kingdom, but can't you just come back like a couple of times? Because I'm like, this is like the best friendship.
Storybrooke could be like their vacation destination.
Exactly.
Exactly. Get a timeshare, and
it's like, just kind of have a room reserved at Granny's all the time, and you can just come for a visit.
Yeah.
And everything, and it's so perfect, just the way all of this works. And with Elsa and Emma, and I'm like, I want you guys to be besties forever. And then so Elsa and Emma figure out how to get Emma's powers back under control, and they do, and there's just this really nice moment at the end where Snow and David and Henry come running up and like, Emma, you're okay, and she figures out how to do fireworks, and it's so cool, and everybody's like smiling and happy. But before they get to that point, Hook comes up to the house, and Rumple is there waiting for him, because Elsa, I guess, went in the back, and Hook tried to go in the front, and Rumple's just like, oh no, I need her magic, I need Emma's magic to get me away from the dagger, to cleave myself from the dagger. So he ties up Hook, and Hook is like yelling, I mean, he tries to appeal to Rumple's better nature, whatever is left of there. He says, Emma, it says Emma's the mother of your grandson, and what are you doing? And I'm basically yelling the same thing as like, but then like
is this something Neil would be wanting you to be doing?
Yeah,
exactly. And
so.
like it's like weren't you the guy that was in front of your son's grave in the first episode, promising to be a better man?
Yeah.
You felt guilty for starting your new marriage with a lie, and you wanted to be a good person.
Mm-hmm.
If to honor Balefire, this beloved son that you care so much about, that you crossed realms to find again, and died to save your sorry rear end, and this is how you repay him. Oh, there is no coming back from this, buddy.
Mm-mm.
Nope.
Not after everything you have done. Oh, and then the kicker is, Emma decides not to go through with getting sucked away into the sorcerer's hat. Hook is kind of like, relieved beyond belief that Emma decided not to. And Rumple just goes, oh, but that's okay, because there's one thing I do need that I have right now, and it is the heart of someone who knew me before I was the Dark One. And the only person who's still alive that knew Rumple before he was the Dark One is Hook.
Mm-hmm.
So guess what Hook gets to spend the rest of the story arc doing?
being Rumple's puppet.
Rumple rips out his heart, and Hook is now his new favorite little puppet. And that is when there was no turning back for Rumple in my view. He is going to have to go through some pretty hefty penitence, whatever, repentance, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Big time groveling. Oh my gosh.
I don't think anybody's going to be buying his groveling anytime soon.
No, you just, oh.
Yeah. And usually I'm the one that's going to be defending Rumple, but
No. And I thought of you, Holly.
Crossed a line.
Yeah, he crossed the line a couple of times. I'm just like, you knew.
Like I know you like Rumple, and you're a big Rumble shipper and everything, but I was just like,
The tides are starting to turn.
There's still a part of me that holds out hope, but at the same time he's got some comeuppance coming to him, and he's got a long road to hoe to get back. Serious wake up call coming to him if he wants to redeem himself.
He hasn't quite hit rock bottom. He needs to.
Yeah. That's
He's almost there, though. I mean,
he's
holding onto the ledge.
At the end of the first half of the season is.
I cheered so loud when that happened.
I know, she finally wised up to his game. And
when she finally figured it out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And she came back and stopped him from doing whatever he was going to do with the hat and the dagger. She came back, we need to talk. And I was just like, oh, heck yes, you do.
Well, and she stopped him from killing Hook.
Yeah.
Yes.
Remember? Because he was like just about to squeeze his heart, and then Belle came and nope.
It's like no, and then she took him to the edge of town and kicked him out.
Yep.
And it was just like, I mean, it obviously
and at this point in the story, once you go out, you can't come back.
Yep.
Yeah. Because what happened was the Snow Queen, where she is in all of this, she wants Storybrooke to be hers and Elsa and Emma's. She wants them to be her new sisters because they have magic, and only people with magic understand people.
And they're blonde.
Yeah, and they're all blonde, so that makes sense, I guess. And it was funny because after that episode where they found out what the Snow Queen wanted about her sisters, my sister and I, my youngest sister and I, we would every Sunday night after the episode, where we both saw the episode, we would text back and forth and say, what did we like about the episode, just kind of talk about it. This is sort of a thing we bond with, which is kind of cool. It's just our relationship anyway. And she was like, after that episode, she was like, how do you like that episode of the Snow Queen and her sisters? And I'm like, if I ever start manifesting snow powers, don't suck me into a magic urn. And it's kind of funny because we're both blonde. She's like got bright blonde hair, and mine's a little bit darker, but it was just funny. Anyway, so basically what the Snow Queen wants to do is she's going to cast the spell of Shattered Sight, and she needs a mirror imbued with dark magic, and the spell is going to turn everybody into the worst version of themselves, which will probably most likely end up with them killing each other eventually. The only people who will be immune from it are Ingrid, Emma, and Elsa, because they're going to stay in Storybrooke and be sisters together and be happy.
Now, Rumple's not affected either because he's already his worst self.
And I don't think the name was either.
Well, let's see, because Rumple asked Ingrid to spare him and Belle and Henry, because Rumple was going to take Belle and Henry and go somewhere else. He was going to find a place and rule the world from his own little whatever. He's going, I don't know, San Francisco or something, and he's gonna be king of the world. And so that was his only, because he and Ingrid were kind of working together a little bit to their own ends, but they each had something that the other needed, which is how Rumple found out that he needed Hook's heart in order to cleave himself from the dagger, because Ingrid knew that that's what he had to do. So they're working at cross purposes, but kind of with the same goal in mind. So in the next episode, they find out that Ingrid is going to cast the spell of Shattered Sight, and they are preparing for this new curse coming. And it's episode 9, and not a lot happens in this episode story-wise, but emotionally, it's the biggest punch in the gut that you could. Oh gosh, like everybody is saying goodbye, and they're all kind of splitting off and realizing what this means. So they're like, tie yourself somewhere so you don't hurt anybody. And like Snow and David lock themselves up in the cells in the sheriff station,
and give the baby meal
with Emma.
Emma
and Elsa.
Yeah,
because Anna's not affected either because she's already been hit by this spell, so she had been inoculated against it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and I guess back up a little bit because they found Anna and Kristoff because Ingrid froze Arendelle for 30 years and that was about the same time that roughly that the Enchanted Forest was cursed originally. So Anna and Kristoff go off and they're trying to find a way back to find Elsa. And and this is sort of quote-unquote flashback, but it's really not because it's actually running parallel in the parallel time stream. And so they're trying to find Elsa, and they find out they fall in with Blackbeard, who is teamed up with Hans, who is still trying to rule Arendelle. Turns out Blackbeard is the one who Hook sold the Jolly Roger to in order to get back to Storybrooke originally. So they've got the Jolly Roger, and I was like, it's the Jolly! Yay! Oh, you got it. I don't know, fine. I guess Hook did try to kill you. So Blackbeard survived getting killed by Hook. Mermaid saved him. So awesome. Okay. So anyway, Blackbeard put Anna and Kristoff in this trunk and chucked them in the bottom of the ocean. But it turns out that Anna's necklace that Elsa has in Storybrooke is actually a wishing star, and Elsa wishes that her sister was there, and the trunk washes up on the shore, and they find Elsa finds Anna and Kristoff, and they're all in Storybrooke, just in time for Shattered Sight to hit.
Yeah.
So that's why, like you said, Ingrid hit Anna with Shattered Sight earlier, so now she's been under the curse. She is immune to it. So now they're like, and Ingrid doesn't know Anna is in Storybrooke. So they all everyone who's going to be affected by the curse is chained up, or restrains themselves, except for like the dwarfs and Granny, because they all are in the street trying to kill each other, which is kind of funny.
Poor Dopey. Poor Dopey, just kidding.
And then we get an interesting scene with Regina in her vault getting hit by that.
Yeah,
curse.
and because Regina locks herself up in her vault before the curse hits. But then when the curse hits, she becomes the evil queen again, because she's like, what am I wearing? Yeah. And so Emma and Elsa are they're going off to find the Snow Queen in that episode, and so they finally find her, and they find her in her little snow cave that she's created out in the woods, and they're trying to stop her, and she realizes that, and Anna's there, and Ingrid realizes that the way she's been going about doing this is not right. It's not the way to do it. And they actually find a letter from Gerda, from Elsa and Anna's mom, telling them exactly what happened. This is the letter that she was writing while their ship was going down before they died.
The message in the bottle.
The message in the bottle. Anna found it when they came up out of the trunk. And it's basically Gerda saying, this is what I did to my sister. It was wrong. I wish I could take it back. You two need to make sure, she's telling Anna and Elsa, make sure that the people know who Ingrid is, and restore the memory of her and Helga, and I feel bad for what's happened. And Ingrid realizes that her sister never stopped loving her, even though her sister made horrible mistakes, and they all should have done better. And Ingrid basically says, I have to stop this, but the only way to stop the spell is to kill herself, or like the spell
just
comes
sacrifice
back
herself.
Yeah, and at the end she's like, she tells Anna and Elsa, you sisters, love each other and be there for each other, and the bond that you share is very special. And she even tells Emma that she did care about her, when she was her foster mother, and she wishes that she would have done better by Emma even. And it's one of the best redemption stories that Once Upon a Time has ever done, really. And they've been working towards some really good ones, like with Regina and Hook and even Rumple to an extent, which he's kind of drained down the hole now. But yeah, it's just like that whole thing. I was just like, I was bawling, because I was like, I didn't want to like you. I don't want to like you. You're not the good guy. You're the villain. But she just proves that she's like, that, the villains can be redeemed. And I'm just like, this is the greatest show ever, but I'm crying and I hate this. So that's the end of Shattered Sight. But Rumple is still got Hook under his control, and Hook was not affected by Shattered Sight because he didn't have his heart. And I was like, well, that makes sense. And Hook is trying to stop Rumple, but he can't really, because he's, sort of the puppet. So now, they bring down the ice wall, but yeah, like you said earlier, the line has been affected. The Storybrooke town line has been affected to where if you cross the town line to leave town, you cannot come back over the line to come back into town. Like Storybrooke is gone, and
because we saw that earlier with Robin Hood and Marion, because Marion's heart had been frozen, right, and Regina took it out so that she wouldn't die. And then once they were able to take the frozen spell off of her, Regina put her heart back in, and at first it thought everything was hunky-dory, and Robin was all like, oh, I love you, I can't stay with Marion because my heart belongs to you. But then we find out that Marion's heart was not completely cured, and the only way that she will live is if she leaves and goes someplace where magic doesn't exist. So she ends up leaving with Robin and their son. And Regina does not get her happy ending again.
No.
And then the whole thing with the apprentice and the hat, Henry and Regina were sitting at Granny's going through comics and said, what if we can't find the author of that book and convince him to write and give me a happy ending? Operation Mongoose is born.
Yes. So that's that operation is continuing in 4B, and this is when Belle realizes that Rumple has lied to her, and the dagger is a fake. So after Belle stops Rumple from killing Hook and cleaving himself from the dagger, she commands Rumple to take them to the town line, and she just lets him have it. Finally, and 11 episodes of Belle being completely oblivious and in her happy newlywed haze, it is over. It is done. And she tells Rumple to pound sand, get the heck out of town. She never wants to see him again. And she pushes him over the town line, and he is without magic. He is gone. And you can tell that it hurt her to do that. And it was so heartbreaking, but it's just like, I mean, if that was the kind of relationship they were going to have, where Rumple was just continually going to lie to her and use her, to further his own ends,
she's better off.
Yeah, she is better off. Yeah. And I'm like,
But I mean, that scene is just, Belle is, you can tell she doesn't want to do it, and you can see just how heartbroken Rumple is to see her do it, and mad props to Robert for that scene, just because it's like we were saying earlier. It's like Rumple needs to hit rock bottom, and this is almost rock bottom.
Yes, almost, not quite.
Well, not quite, because it kind of ends with him like
going back to his scheming ways.
Going back to his old ways, and even Belle. I mean, Emily DeRovan, she kills it in that one scene. She's not had very much to do in this story arc, which just really at points really frustrated me, because I was just like, when is she going to figure it? When is Belle going to figure it out? But all that frustration, and it came out in that one scene, and I was just like, there it is. That's all I needed to see. Is her finally figuring it out and just show how heartbreaking and what he did to her in with all these lies and manipulation. And like the week before this episode aired, I went back to season 2 and watched the episode The Crocodile. Not because it started the whole Hook versus Rumple feud, but because there is a moment in that episode in Storybrooke where Belle, her father, tries to get her to forget about Rumple and get her to go across the town line, and forces her across, and he doesn't succeed. And Belle just goes off on him, like saying, "You don't tell me what to do. You don't tell me who to care about." But then Rumple, who has also been kind of a manipulating blankety blank so and so to her, she still says to him, like, "I'm not going back with you either, because I'm going to do my own thing." And that's when, she goes and she finds her own place. She starts working. She starts being the librarian of the town. She has a job. And, and that's like, okay, that's the Belle I want to see. I want to see Belle stick up for herself, because she's better than this. And I finally got it. And I was like, oh, thank you, Adam and Eddie. I knew you guys had something going on here. It's like, you couldn't just leave me in this mess. So, and then this episode also introduces, in flashback with Rumple and Belle, the Queens of Darkness, Maleficent, Cruella de Vil, and Ursula. And it shows that these three ladies, they knew Rumple, and they were fellow villains together, and they tried to kidnap Belle, and this was back when Belle and Rumple were just barely falling in love. So I guess that's sort of a little parallel there with this episode, with those flashbacks. And so after Rumple gets kicked out of Storybrooke, it cuts to about 6 weeks later, and he's in New York, looking very much worse for the wear, very scruffy and grizzled, and like he's kind of been living rough, and he finds,
without his magic, he has a limp.
Yes, yep, he's back to pre-magic Rumple, and he has no magic, and he's kind of having to fend for himself. But he finds this woman at this aquarium in New York, and it's obviously it's the real world version of Ursula. And Rumple is just, and she remembers who she is, and for some reason she doesn't have her magic, and she's, I don't know how. I mean, I'm certain season 4B will explain how these queens of darkness ended up in the modern world, and
the real world with no magic.
Real world, yeah.
Their memories.
And Rumple does his best of, we're getting the band back together.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So that's where it leaves us off. And Anna, Elsa, and Kristoff went back to Arendelle. They found a little portal that'll take them back, and the last scene with those two is they're in the palace. Anna is getting ready to
Marry
her
Kristoff.
wedding. Gonna marry Kristoff, and there's this really, really awesome little scene with Anna and Elsa.
Oh yeah, the chocolate.
And
Like, what's that smell?
One more little homage.
Chocolate.
I love it. And then, because the beginning of them with the premiere, they showed them holding each other's hand in front of their parents' graves, and then it ends with them holding hands going out into the palace to the wedding, and that's the end of it. And I was like, please come back, we miss you.
This is after.
Portal is when I watched it with my dad, he was talking about how we're wondering if it might have been a trick, but I told him no, it's in Rumple's best interest to get Anna out of Storybrooke before she tells Emma what she knows about
Rumple.
Yeah, and that's what sets them off to, Rumple is up to no good, because Anna says, oh my gosh, Rumpelstiltskin, he's this horrible, or she realized who Rumpelstiltskin, or who's helped them, quote unquote, helped them get home, and she's like, oh my gosh, he has this hat, and this terrible thing is gonna happen. And that's what sets off the whole search to save Hook, because they don't know what's going on. And then, but Hook survives. He gets his heart back.
Emma tells her who Mr. Gold was.
That's
being
right. That's what it was.
And she's like, oh, he's trouble. He's got this plan stuff.
Because she witnessed it when she was back in the Enchanted Forest looking for why her parents left, and met up with Rumpelstiltskin, and he's a no good, dirty, rotten dirtbag, and she knows it.
Rumple was hoping that Anna and Elsa would go back to Arendelle without revealing that.
Yes, and that's why Rumple found
Didn't
him
quite work
way
out
back.
that way.
Nope.
Which is why, because the portal wasn't always there. I think he did something to put it there, and then told them that it was there through Hook.
Yeah, because there's this scene where Hook goes to tell Emma where this portal is, and he's obviously being controlled by Rumple because he's not acting like himself at all, and that's how. And Emma's just like, you're not acting like yourself, and so that's kind of, they put two and two together, and then so later Emma gives Hook back his heart, and there's the big damn kiss at the end, and we'll see what happens with those two, how things progress with their relationship, because it's very much a natural progression, even with all the crazy magic fairy tale weirdness going on within the show that everybody gets caught up with.
Their relationship is kind of like the way it's progressing is like it's tied into the story arc, but at the same time it's kind of a separate thing.
Yeah, it really is, and I anticipate that staying the case when the show comes back, and just kind of seeing where it all goes, because I have heard rumors, that there's going to be more backstory with Hook, which I will never say no to. I want more of this, because there have been hints dropped about his childhood, like his relationship with his father, We've had a really good backstory with his brother, which I just adore. And I'm just like, give me more of this. I mean, it's like enough with Regina and pre-curse Snow White and everything like that. That was all season 1. We've seen that story. Give me something new, please.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I want it to be. I want to see Hook. I want to see more of his. What he was like. Whether it's as a pirate or even before that. I don't care. I want more.
As a little boy.
As a little boy, yes. We got teenage Emma. Come on, we got to have little boy Hook. And the way they do, and the way they cast the younger versions of these characters.
I 1,000.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, I want to see who they get to play Hook as a little boy, because it would just be the most adorable thing in the world. Anyway,
tell us how you really feel about it.
Oh.
And it's going to be interesting, too, to see how this whole thing plays out with Ursula, Cruella, and Maleficent, and how much trouble they're going to wreak for Rumple and what his grand plan is. Something tells me he's going to be bound for a few more headaches, and there's going to be a lot of triple and double dealing, I'm thinking.
Yes. Mm-hmm. You know what? And the more Rumple steps in it, the more I'm just going to you brought this on yourself, hon.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
It's this is your problem.
Sympathy. Yep.
But yeah, like you said, he's got to hit rock bottom, which apparently, and I thought Belle basically kicking him out of Storybrooke. I was like, okay, that's got to be rock bottom for him. And apparently it's not.
No.
It's like, how far further do you have to fall
He's a devious little so-and-so.
Yeah.
He's a devious little so-and-so, and he's gonna do everything in his power to get power.
Mm-hmm. That is true. I mean, that's what last year at Comic-Con when they were interviewing everybody about their characters, Robert Carlyle was talking about Rumpelstiltskin. He said, yeah, he is addicted to power, and that's his biggest problem. And I'm like, and that has very much come out in the story, in the story arc, is like, even with Belle kicking him out and him losing everything that he holds, that he cherishes and holds dear, he still is like, okay, let's get the Queens of Darkness, let's get this show on the road, like you said, get the band back together, and just like, oh, this is just more of the same, you moron.
Mm-hmm. And something tells me Regina isn't going to be any too happy when she finds that out.
It's not an easy habit to kick.
Yeah.
No, that is true. But it's just like, I mean, I don't know. I guess I've heard recovering addicts talk about, that moment where they, I mean, I don't know about addiction firsthand. I just know what I have heard from other people, and I'll just say, yeah, you don't, until you hit that rock bottom, you don't want to change at all. And I'm just sitting there watching Rumple going, when do you start changing back?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you were on a good trajectory in season 3,
mm-hmm.
and now you've just completely backslid to
from the season 4A arc. It seems like that good trajectory was all an act.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
True, but then we don't know how many mind games Selena wound up playing with him, and if he's not suffering any consequences from that.
That is true. I keep forgetting about that Selena did keep him under her control with the dagger. So I can understand why he would want to cleave himself from the dagger.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't like the way he's gone about it. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, he's never been a savory character to begin with. No. And I guess you kind of need that in the show, because you need that constant adversary, like, because you can't, everybody can't be Snow White with, sunshine and rainbows and
although I love Snow's little rant when Shattered Sight is taking effect and Regina comes after her, and she's like, oh yeah, she's talking about how she, sings and talks to animals and is goody frou-frou, but she's like, I'm also a murderer.
It's like, I kill people. Yeah, the evil queen's mommy, I killed her. Yeah, that was the funniest part of Shattered Sight.
Yeah.
In the episode before, everyone was so
holding hands, laughing at each other at the end. I was like, That works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they're like people are literally in the streets and like like Dopey is sitting on the street corner while somebody's slapping him on the corner, on the face, and like Grumpy and Granny are like throwing fisticuffs at each other, and the spell breaks and they all stop. And they just all look and they're like, somebody's got their hands around somebody else's neck and they're like, oh, okay, we're better now. Let's go get some coffee.
Yeah. The funniest thing because
we were talking about after that episode aired about how that was like the shortest curse ever, and I said that if it had been any longer, people would have died.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the episode before they were all like, it was all emotionally overwrought, and they were so scared of what was going to happen. They're like, "You got to get away from me because I'm probably going to kill you." And then the next episode is so funny because of how bad, quote unquote, everybody is. And I'm trying to remember which one it was because they were in the sheriff's station.
Because Regina, when she comes back, she looks at the getup that she's wearing, and it's her old evil queen, and she kind of like, what in
She's like, what the heck am I wearing?
Yeah. Yeah, and it was funny, like the way Charming is like Kristoff says something about, shut her up, talking about Snow White, and Charming's like, why don't you shut up or something? So his worst self doesn't come out until his wife is getting crap from Kristoff, and I was just like, this is so funny.
It was a stupid argument between Snow and Charming anyway. It was about Neil and the swaddling. It's like, yeah, he doesn't need to be wrapped up like a burrito.
I know, like we're expecting the episode before. We're expecting,
they did drag up what they were like before they fell in love, and that whole mess.
It's like, she hit me with a rock.
And poor Kristoff. Kristoff is like new. He had just got there, and he doesn't know these people, and he's handcuffed to a desk.
David beforehand.
Yeah, he knew David beforehand, and that was it. I mean, he's in a new world, and like even when they're walking through town before the curse hits, Anna and Elsa are like, this place is so weird, and Elsa's like, I know. Or, she says something about like what people are wearing or something. Or, this realm is so strange, and it's kind of funny because we haven't really dealt with Elsa, kind of finding it odd with Storybrooke. I mean, yeah, she had that comment about Emma's dress for her date about, where's the rest of it? Is that just the corset? But there really wasn't a whole lot of that going on.
Yeah,
but that was
like
just
because
funny.
when Anna and Kristoff came to Storybrooke, I was like, oh yay, more people from a less advanced society to be baffled by the 21st century.
I know, and they didn't have a lot of time to deal with it, but the time they did,
that trope it's just
it is funny. It is awesome.
It's so funny. It's the funny trope.
I know, and Hook got into it. Yeah, Hook got a little bit of that during this season, like back in episode 3, where he's calling Emma on the phone, and Elsa's like, "What's that?" And she's like, "I don't know. Yeah, I push the Emma button, and she answers usually." And then he gets her voicemail, and he's like, why am I going to carry this thing around if you're not going to answer it?
Yeah.
Yeah, although it was really cute.
Bro.
I know, it's one of my favorites. It's why I started watching. Well, that's why I kept watching Sleepy Hollow, because every episode there's Ichabod.
Because Ichabod Crane is that person being baffled by 21st century technology.
And now he's to the point where he's just like he's honestly just playing it for laughs because he knows it's funny. So like you've gotten enough of this that you understand what's going on. You're just being a little turd right now.
Considering how much you know about pop culture right about now, and you're pleading ignorance on a few things.
It's like, I call BS on your shenanigans.
Yeah.
But yes, Hook versus the 21st century. I love it. And even when he was like, when he figured out that, you know, the down power line's like, oh, that caused the blackout. And Emma was all impressed by his newfound knowledge of modern conveniences.
Yes.
Anyway. So, season 4B, we've got Ursula, Maleficent, and Cruella de Vil, which I am really excited to see what they do with Cruella de Vil, because they've talked about, because, you know, in 101 Dalmatians, Cruella de Vil does not have, it's not a magic fairy tale thing.
No, it's real world.
It's real world, but, you know, she's just this crazy, outrageous villain, but they have hinted that there will be some kind of magical component to her character. Haven't really said what it's going to be about yet, but just the little bit that they showed in the last episode before the hiatus, just her smarmy, not even smarmy, I guess snarky attitude toward Rumpelstiltskin. I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna like you, even though you're the villain. You're still gonna be my favorite, I think, unless these other,
because she can give as good as she can, as good as Rumple can give back. So this should be interesting.
So for someone who supposedly doesn't have any magic, going toe to toe against the Dark One, I'm not sure about. I'm intrigued by what she's going to do.
Mm-hmm. As long as no puppies are injured, I'm down.
Yeah.
Yes, that is true. That is true. Leave the puppies alone.
And
but there's probably
alone.
Yes.
I did love the intro though, and when they were showing the in the flashback of how they get a hold of kidnapping Belle from Rumple, because Belle's like hanging laundry on the line, and this tiny little Dalmatian puppy comes running up to her. I'm like, oh, so cute. I know who you belong to, but you're still adorable.
I know.
It's like, puppy's cute, but don't follow the puppy.
Don't follow the puppy, but I'm gonna follow the puppy because he's adorable. If you don't follow him, I'm gonna follow him.
Coming from a home that has had 4 Dalmatians, they're so cute when they're that little.
Oh.
Love puppies. Our dogs are the kind that stay little.
Those are good too.
And they're so cute.
But
Lucky got a haircut Saturday.
There's something about Dalmatian puppies specifically that is just, oh, they're so cute. It's probably Disney's fault, actually.
Probably. You made him too cute, but that's okay. We'll sit here and enjoy it anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yep.
So anyway, that's Once Upon a Time, season 4A, and there's always so much. They pack so much storyline into this stuff. It's hard to believe that it's only been that there were only 11 episodes. Granted, one was double length, but still there was.
And it's going to be interesting to see how Hook and Henry repair their relationship after the shattered sight.
Well, I think everybody realizes that. Yeah. I mean, I thought Henry was going to be immune to the shattered sight, but then he wasn't, and like he was all. Like,
but he's an angsty teenager, so it wasn't that much of a stretch.
Although it was funny that Henry's like, "You're just a dirty old pirate," and Hook's like, "Dirty." Quite frequently, thank you.
I love that line.
And Henry totally pulls a Kevin McAllister and sets up the marbles. So Hook trips over him and totally biffs it and falls on his backside. Oh boy. There is a lot of good stuff coming up.
Oh yes. For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We only have to wait how many more weeks?
Well, about 3 weeks.
March 1st.
March 1st. And today, as we're recording, it's the 8th. So, yeah. 2 more Once Upon a Time left.
Yep.
Anyway. Well, probably have to start wrapping up.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, just.
But
oh, was there something else?
I just wanted to say, it's by the time everyone listens to this airs, the Once Upon a Time, the ABCs of Once Upon a Time going on for a little over a week. I want to thank everyone who's joining in, and it's been really fun seeing everything. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, it really
I had somebody tweet me from me doing the photo challenge and say they're going to start watching Once Upon a Time because they're intrigued by the photos I'm putting up.
Yep. Oh, and I got my sister doing the photo challenge too, and so you probably I know I've seen she's been liking some of you guys' stuff.
Yeah, I
so.
started following your sister on Instagram, so.
Yeah. So yeah, she's been doing that. She tagged me in a couple of other things, and she actually I texted her about it, saying, hey, we're doing this if you want to do it, and she's like, I've got them all figured out, I just don't have anything for X yet, and I'm just like, well, neither do I.
Like, that's a long ways away.
So she made a list already, and I'm just like, good girl.
Yeah.
I think we may all be having the same one for X.
Probably. That's okay though.
Yep.
So anyway, but yeah, this has been a fun one, and I've got an interesting one for the next one, so hopefully it works. Anyway, and as always, listeners, kind souls that download our podcast, find all of our stuff at the 5ish Fangirls podcast.blogspot.com. Download us on iTunes now. Look us up on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, all those great places.
Yeah.
Send us feedback if you feel so inclined about this or anything else that we've talked about, or anything you would like us to talk about. Give us some ideas if you have any. We'll take those. Yeah, and just continue supporting us. Keep listening.
These four are talking about shipping.
Yes, in honor of Valentine's Day, next week's topic, we'll be talking about shipping.
Since that is the most romance some of us single ladies
Yeah.
will ever get.
Yeah. Yep.
So feel free to send in your feedback and all that. I mean, we've been, I don't know about you guys on your own Twitter, but I've seen tweets come to our Twitter of people, leaving us comments and compliments, and that's awesome and gives us warm fuzzies. But please do send in feedback, and also, if you're inclined, go on iTunes and make sure you rate and leave a review, because that helps the podcast get bumped up in whatever analytics or algorithm that iTunes uses. Like, if you go into iTunes and you just go to the general podcast page, like, iTunes has like a list of like the most popular, new, and noteworthy. But if you have to have people rating and reviewing your podcast for you potentially to get on that page. But if we can get ourselves bumped up there, then more people may see it, and we may get more listeners. So.
And the more the merrier.
The more the merrier. I mean, we're going to keep making this, but we know people are watching. We do have analytics that we can see, and the episode is getting downloaded and listened to. So, if all you want to do is just, click on whatever rating you feel is worthy of us, and, just leave a short little comment. I mean, that's something.
That's all we ask.
We know you're out there. Don't be afraid.
You don't have to leave us War and Peace blank comment, although if you do, we won't say no to that.
No, yeah. We'll read it.
Good, bad, indifferent, we don't care. Just, we're glad you're listening.
Exactly. So
anyway, so that's, I think, is that all we've got for this week? Unless anyone else has any last minute things I want to throw out there.
Nope. That's
I
don't think so.
Well, if any of our listeners are going to Galley, be sure to check out my panel.
Yes.
Yes.
Hang on. Saturday morning, 10 a.m. in program C.
So go check out Mitch's panel, say hello, and that'll be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So that's by the cosplay and photo hallway on the map. So if you go to the left past the dealer's room, all the way to the end of that hallway, and then turn right, and it's the room on the very end on your left. So
yeah, if you're at Galley, check that out.
Mm-hmm.
yes,
Galley is like crazy busy.
Saturday, 10 a.m.
So there you go. If I was going to Galley, I would go. But I'm not.
Good to know.
No.
Yeah.
Not this year.
And which I just remembered, because Sean and Mel will be flying in before me, I will have ribbons at LobbyCon.
Yay!
Yay!
Woo! So look for ribbons.
Yes, look for ribbons all weekend until I run out.
Yeah. I hope we run out. That would be awesome.
Yep. So, yeah.
Yep. So cool. All right.
So
then.
I'll have my own
Yep.
ribbons and the podcast ribbons.
Mm. And if you have trouble hunting down Mitch, you can tweet her.
Yeah.
Use the Twitter.
Use the Twitter.
Use the Twitter. So
Cool.
we'll put a link to your Twitter specifically, so
Yes.
people can
In the show notes.
find you. Yeah. Alrighty then. Well, with that, I guess we will sign off for this week.
This is Brittany in Fort Pierce saying goodnight.
This is Chrissy from Salt Lake City saying goodnight.
This is Holly from Wisconsin saying good evening.
This is Mitch saying goodnight from Kitchener, Ontario.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Good night, everyone. You have been listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. Any and all movies, books, games, and other forms of media mentioned are owned and operated by the respective copyright holders. No copyright infringement is intended or implied.